All right, so it is currently Friday the 26th of June. I'm gonna give you two guesses as to where we're going. If you see me, I got my backpack with my tuning laptop, and I got this duffel bag with all my fire safety stuff. So if you guessed we're going to the track, you are damn right. We got the turtle here. Turtle is ready to go. Funny enough, I actually put about 40 miles last night on the street. I got that wild hair up my ass and I wanted to go get dinner with it. So about 4 years ago, I finished up the 1.6 build. And my first drive was to go to Wawa and get lunch with it. So I actually took her to Wawa last night, had dinner with her, and then Maggie came and hung out. So I'll put a couple photos here saying I was driving it. But yeah, tonight we're gonna go to the track, hopefully knock out the rest of the 3 of my NHRA license passes. So we already changed the tune up a little bit. We put another degree of timing in the spool up. Hopefully that gives me a faster spool up. And put that down. And we increased the launch the launch boost to 10 pounds. Launch RPM is 3,800 instead of 3,600. And then we're putting about 15 pounds of boost going down track. So I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that's going to be a bottom 10-second pass, hopefully. So the only thing I did today is when the car was cooled off from last night's drive, I went and put a little bit more heat protectant on these hoses. I actually took it on the highway for the very first time last night. The temps climbed to about 225, 226. Anything over 220, the car gets really pissy. So kind of had to baby it, but I think it's just because I did a terrible thing and I put my coolant temp sensor in the wrong place. So let me explain. From the factory on an LS motor, right here is where your coolant temp sensor would be. It would be in the cylinder head. However, mine, I put over here. So essentially, the hoses coming out of the block, the bottom one goes from the radiator to the engine. The top one goes from the engine to the radiator. Well, the top ones are pretty close behind the exhaust. As you can see, this far one, it goes down and under now. But this top one is right here, right next to the up pipe. And then of course these two hoses now go into the temp sensor. So I think I'm actually getting more of a false reading than anything with the sensor being there. With the 3.5-inch exhaust with the 76mm, it was fine. But I think because we now went to a 4-inch exhaust, it's just a little too close and the temp is radiating onto those hoses. So I'm gonna try 2 things. I ordered a piece, I honestly don't remember what it's called. It's some crazy heat shield. And what I'm gonna try to do is make a barrier between the up pipe and those hoses. It says it deflects up to 90% heat. It's some good stuff. Try that, and if the temp still climbs because of that, then I actually just ordered a wire extension harness, and I'm going to try to put the coolant temp sensor back in the factory location. So, as some of you guys know, I actually built this entire wiring harness myself, Raychem, labeled it, but my coolant sensor's over here. Well, I don't want to sit there, knife it all up and redo it. So I actually bought an extension harness. So I'm going to unplug it over here. I'm going to plug the extension harness in, run the extension harness up and over in there. I'll probably end up cutting it and rewrapping it in Raychem so it looks a little bit better. But that's going to be a temporary fix for now. And maybe that'll help me with my sensor issues. Because I assume the engine's not actually getting that hot, but that's the temperature being, at the sensor because of the routing of the hoses. So it's something to try. I don't want to sit there. I really don't want to re-bleed the whole cooling system again because that's a freaking nightmare. But I'm going to try the heat shield first. And if that doesn't really work as well as I'm hoping, then we'll move the sensor and then we'll see there. Because I will get a better representation of temperature if it's in the cylinder head. That way you actually know the temperature inside the engine. So anywho, but last night, I drove 40 miles. Before I got on the highway, it was around 195 to 200 degrees. And then once I got on the highway, it's just the radiate, because you're higher RPM, more load on everything, so you're creating more heat. Anywho, enough of me blabbing. Let's go load this thing up on the trailer, because I am dying to go fast tonight. All right, so on the way to the track, we're getting some of that good old corn.
All the corn.
This is, I guess, Racing E85. We have this pump in Orlando. It's kind of pricey. It's $4 a gallon, but I'm gonna take 5 gallon, put there. We just filled the tank on the car, and we are about 15 minutes away from the track, so almost there. All right, so we made it to Orlando Speed World. I'm teched in, ready to go. John's checking tires. I just gotta grab my fire suit and we're good to go. So closing up the truck, and we will be heading to the lanes shortly after a quick bathroom break. And for the first time, John's with me at the track, so I'm gonna show him the roles of filming and everything we gotta do at the track. So we are car 271, and then as here, we're doing the license passes, even though he can't spell license, but it is what it is. So we're getting ready. Alright guys, it is currently 1 o'clock in the morning. We just left Orlando Speed World. I got 3 passes in today. So first pass, I turned it up just a little bit. It went 10.4. Turned it up just a little bit. Went 9.9. And then I turned it up just a little bit more. And I hit my injector duty cycle limit. So now I gotta have the car, basically we're gonna have to increase fuel pressure and have Sergio redo the whole fueling map again. So I am kind of mad for 2 reasons. One reason is we didn't get footage of the last pass, which we just found out when I picked up the GoPro, which sucks because that was the best 60 foot I've done was a 150, and also it was on to being like definitely the fastest pass I've done, but it hit fuel cut or injector duty cycle limit of 100%, which yeah. The second reason, why am I mad, John?
Because your fancy computer saved your ass.
Yeah, I'm really butthurt because that was on a, when I let off the transit brake, holy crap, was it on a mission? Until it wasn't. But I mean, that's kind of why I bought a fancy ECU. It does all the safety stuff, and I mean, that could have saved my car from melting down. It is what it is. I'm not a tuner, so I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I can rescale my whole fuel map. Going to the bigger turbo, I did add a little bit more fuel where the car needed it, but that's the extent of what I'm willing to do versus writing a whole fuel map. So I will be seeing Sergio soon. But anyway, well, we have 5 out of 6 of the NHRA passes because my last pass ended up being like a 12-second pass. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go see Sergio. We're gonna have to retune it on the dyno, and then we'll have to go back for my last license pass. Anyway, I can't be too much of a crybaby. I had a good night. The car drove up on the trailer under its own power. It was a good day. So with that being said, got some work to do. But until then, catch you guys in the next one.